My parents have the stupidest dog in the world. The stupidest dog. Barks at nothing. And one of the things that I think is that when a dog just barks at nothing, it's that they're unhappy dogs because they're always barking like that for nothing. And I just seem to think that for some reason I seem to think that dogs shouldn't be just barking to bark. You know, they should be "Eh," and happy. This dog doesn't seem to be happy. So if anyone wants to adopt a dog, I've got the key to the house. I'll make sure to let that dog go. I'll pay you, anyone, to adopt this dog because it's just barking like that.
You need to contact the dog whisperer
No,
to do a miracle.
that dog needs to go. You know, it doesn't make any sense. My cats are quiet and calm, because they feel loved and appreciated. You know, hello, Janie's freezing, but you got to feel love and appreciate it. And this is one of the reasons why I do my best, to have all these great relationships, with our sister city, Matamoros, Tamaulipas. And I make mention of that because this week I was invited to be a part of uh, an event, a ribbon cutting event in Matamoros. And whilst other individuals might say, well, Matamoros, and we're like, guys, we have so much in common because our people and their people are really one people. This is why we're always being given the title of sister cities, because we're so intertwined. Frankie, one of the things that I get a lot is like, Erasmo, you're always marrying people on the bridge, and I said, like, well, yeah, because there's so many relationships between Matamoros people and Brownsville people. Also, people need to understand that a lot of our American people that are born here in the United States, they opt to live in Mexico, you know, they opt to live in Matamoros because it's just, they don't have to pay PUB there. But, we have to continue to embrace our relationship with Matamoros. Uh, One event, which, it's been very, very publicized nationwide, is these individuals that, were kidnapped and two of them, got killed. This is an isolated event. It's one event. I mean, in that time, Frankie, we've had murders here in Brownsville. Is anyone out there saying don't go to Brownsville? No, not at all. And I think you were very, very proactive in the story. I was a little bit less, but you were more proactive in the story. And you know that there was even to this day, I think, Frankie, there's just so many questions that haven't been answered in regards to what these people were doing over there. What exactly, were they planning to achieve? And we just don't know. You got individuals from the Carolinas coming down in a white little SUV little thingy, supposedly getting a tummy tuck. And let me tell you, that girl didn't look like she was getting a tummy tuck. And priors in regards to the drug trade coming into Matamoros, you know, cartel involvement. It just doesn't seem like it's an oops. It was a case of mistaken identity. That's what we heard. So, what did you conclude off your 3 week stance on the Matamoros shootings?
Um, it's very important for us to have a very good relationship, good dialogue with our sister city. And it's unfortunate, Asmo, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems as if we only extend the arm whenever it's Charo days, whenever it's day of festival. I really don't see much dialogue, much coordination between our city commission and Matamoros. Let's go back to the glory days of downtown Brownsville. The commerce was a lot of merchants from Matamoros. Uh, in regards to the danger, as we all know, our family travels very frequently to and from Matamoros. As long as you're not you yourself, as long as a person is not involved in the criminal organization, if you're not rowdy, if you're not causing a scene, for the most part, people tend to leave you alone, especially knowing if you're an American, they know better not to mess with nobody. But it's very important for our next mayor, for you, to have that communication, that dialogue with the leaders from Matamoros, and it's very impressive how today you had a meeting with a representative from uh, the PUP of Matamoros, if you would call it that, and we need more of that. We need more dialogue. From our sister city. In regards to the safety of the South Carolina, for the people from South Carolina, there is still a lot of questions we really don't know, and we probably won't know the true details. But what we should focus on is our relationships. We have seen how McAllen seems to get all that drive from Monterrey, even from the people from Matamoros and Reynosa. They don't come to Brownsville no more. So I think it's very important for our next mayor to reestablish those connections. And again, I'm not just saying it just because it's you, man, but people know you in Matamoros, people know you in Monterrey, and we need somebody like that that's going to bring people back to the table, back to the drawing boards, and say, how can we work together? And someone very important, and I've been watching through Captain Bob's series, CBS, is Turi, Arturo Trevino. He is very involved in Matamoros, and
Yeah.
he would be a great asset for the city of Brownsville, working together, reestablishing those relationships. It's very vital for the city of Brownsville. Uh, I understand that currently, right now, the vision for downtown Brownsville is the restaurants. They want to revitalize these bars and establishments, which is good. But let's not forget, there is a lot of people that travel to and from Brownsville and Matamoros, and we need to reestablish those, uh, economically speaking, those relationships.
Well, a couple of things that I want to mention. First of all, I think you're right in regards to the relationship that we need to have with Matamoros, and it was with the individuals from Las Juntas de Aguas that I had a meeting today. And one of the things that I think I want to get very, very well versed in is, and start thinking ahead, because I think that's one of the things that has been lacking with the leadership that we've had here. We don't think ahead. So I did have a meeting with individuals from Las Juntas de Aguas de Tamaulipas, de Matamoros, because I want to continue to explore our relationship with Matamoros in regards to the waterworks. How we share our water, and what we need to prepare in case we fall into what is expected, a lack of water here shortly. I think that was one of the hot topics that our state representative Eddie Lucio III was out there trying to champion in regards uh, to um, to to the lack of water that we're planning to have. We're going to have. I think one of Pat Ahumada's constant crowd cries out there was the Weir Dam, and how we need to get that going, and I completely understand. But something that you mentioned that I greatly appreciate is that we have to foment those relationships with individuals in Matamoros, but we have to use the strengths that we already have here locally, the strengths, that are like an individual that you mentioned, Trevino, who is a powerhouse in Matamoros and a powerhouse in Brownsville. So he already has that bridge out there to the individuals out there. So we need to use these individuals. And I think one of the things that Arturo Trevino has been very, very passionate about is closing that gap that exists between our sister cities and finding ways for us to interact a little bit more. And that's a great thing, guys. Us getting to the point where we can interact well with our sister city in Matamoros, it's going to mean revenue for the city of Brownsville. The other thing that you make mention that is very very telling. I think the vision that our local officials have had has been off. Frankie, in the high point days of downtown, Frankie, you've got to remember that individuals were coming over from Matamoros from different parts of Tamaulipas. They were coming out here to do their shopping, shoes, clothes, everything was downtown. And it seems now that the focus is more on restaurants and bars. Como que we're pulling away from Matamoros, Frankie, in order to make it more like Austin or California. They're Californiaing our Brownsville. They want to Austin, Texas, our Brownsville. And guys, we got to keep that which makes Brownsville Brownsville. And one of the things that I've shared, I don't know if you were on when I shared it. One of our great friends, Alex Guerrero. Remember Don Alex, Don Alec.
Good man.
Don Alex was was a visionary, and he and I got into a discussion one time because I was out there complaining, and again, and I was wrong, and of course Alex was right. But I was out there complaining concerning individuals with Mexican license plates driving here in Brownsville, Texas, and Don Alejandro, Alex, he put me to the side and called me out, said, Erasmo, we desperately need Matamoros, spending their money here in Brownsville. And, after, at first I was a little bit on the head, like, oh, well, but after studying our area and studying the relationship that existed in the past and what needs to exist in the future, I agreed with him. And, I retracted on my position. I said, I should never have said that because we need Matamoros, we need Tamaulipas, we need Monterrey, and I'm very very proud that in this upcoming race there is no one running for office that is more well versed in regards to Monterrey than Erasmo Castro. I travel there at sometimes once a week, and because I have a lot of family ties there, a lot of ties with our church there, but I also have, a relationship with the mayor of Monterrey. The mayor of Monterrey is one of Don Alio Colosio's sons, and was one of my former students when I was teaching at Irlandés in Monterrey. So again, that's the type of relationships that we need to foment. Yeah, and I'm hopeful that once we become mayor of the city of Brownsville, we're going to be able to extend that arm and el abrazo to one of my former students and mayor right now of the city of Monterrey, and it's just also intertwined, Frankie, because as I think you made mention before, it's a big thing in Monterrey that Elon Musk, is there. And it's so big, Frankie, that you've got billboards out there in Monterrey. And next time I'm there, I'm going to take some pictures of them. There's billboards out there like "Welcome to Monterrey, Elon," and Tesla signs and everything, because they're grateful that Elon Musk wants to expand con los regios, and it's a benefit to them, and we can make it a benefit for us as well because we have so many things in common, Frankie. One of them being uh, the richest man in the world.
And it's very important. And you're absolutely correct. It seems as if I'm still under the weather. I'm struggling, but I'm trying. Thanks, Luis. It's you're absolutely correct. This current city commission, their focus is not on international business. It seems it's more on trying to make downtown a Bourbon Street, a Sixth Street. Unfortunately, we need to reestablish those relationships, and it's very important for us to remember we have SpaceX. Monterrey has Tesla. We need to go and pitch the idea to Monterrey and say, "Hey guys, you have Elon, we have Elon. Come visit, come take a look, come spend your money here." It's something that I feel as if even your opponents at Erasmo, they're not screaming and shouting at this idea. They're not wanting to bridge that gap. It's unfortunate that what worked back in the heydays, in the glory days, we've veered away from that. And there's that saying: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Unfortunately, people have their own agendas that drives them to shift away from the focal point of what is the relationships between Brownsville and Matamoros. It's very important. You spoke about the water. If I'm not mistaken, Monterrey had a shortage of water not too long ago. The city of Brownsville was supplying them with water for some time. So the next mayor for the city of Brownsville needs to be very vocal, needs to be very assertive in reestablishing these relationships. Um, there's a lot of money in Monterrey. There's a lot of money in Matamoros, and there is that fear of the cartels and things like that. But for the most part, we need to reestablish ourselves. We need somebody that's going to bring everyone to the table. And a great asset for the city of Brownsville, for you, Erasmo, as mayor, is going to be Arturo Trevino. He's going to help you bring those people to the table. And what we want is tourism. We want people to come and spend money. We want people to invest money in the city of Brownsville. Let's use the island as a focal point as well. If they're going to spend money on the island, they're going to spend money in Brownsville. Those are things that the community needs to be more aware of. That we need to target that audience. We need to target that money that's out there, because again, McAllen is eating our lunch. There's nothing different that McAllen isn't doing that we can't do. So that's going to be a focal point moving forward.
100%. We need to increase the relationships, and we need to increase the investment coming in from Matamoros, Monterrey, Tampico, Victoria. We need these cities to come to Brownsville. And again, one of the things that we talked about yesterday, and we learned from one of my opponents, was how our zoo is in danger of losing its accreditation. And again, these are the driving forces that gear people to want to come to Brownsville. Um, in Monterrey, Bioparque Estrella. Bioparque Estrella, it's one of those must-see places that you go. You've got wildlife ranking. You go feed the animals and stuff. While driving around, and it is when you think of Monterrey, you think of Bioparque Estrella. You think of La Fundidora. You think of El Río Santa Catarina, and you definitely think of Chicharrón Prensado de la Ramos, because there is no greater food in the entire world, folks, than Chicharrón Prensado de la Ramos. Amazing. It's like eating candy, but you're actually eating pork. So amazing. But we need to increase and to grow in regards to bringing more revenue down to the city of Brownsville. I understand what Kate is saying. Matamoros. Let me go back in here. Matamoros is run by the leaders are simply there filling roles, but not enforcing laws. And that's the big difference from Matamoros to here. Here, the laws are enforced in regards to crime. Uh, Maybe. I think that's one of the things that we had been talking about. I wish that the laws were enforced here equally with everyone, you know, and and unfortunately for us, they are not. Yeah, they are not. But and and, and look, one of the things that I think that a lot of us tend to focus on, it's like these car crashes, that I post up. When you see a car crash or a couple of cars crash on the expressway, everyone starts going slower because they want to look, right?
Right.
Because it's like, let me see. And I think that that's what happens with a lot of the crime in Matamoros. It's, people that de repente put a detente and go like, oh, let me see. Well, what about the horrible crime that happens here that usually gets covered up, that we don't see, or that crime that is not talked about? Look, we had and some individuals in Mexico, Frankie, were kind of upset that with these four individuals that had gotten kidnapped supposedly, how in 2 days' time or 3 days' time, Frankie, they found them. And a lot of people in Mexico stated there are so many people missing throughout this country who have been missing for years, and no one gives a rat's behind about them. No, you don't see a major force. You don't see the president, the major president, the president out there making speeches about getting justice for these people. And I compare it, Frankie, to something that you've been very, very vocal about. I think you have taken on the mantle of being the most vocal individual when it comes to Kimberly. I've seen, I think this past week that you threw out a post or a couple of posts out there. And let me say, it's been years already. What, 5 years, 7 years, Frankie? I'm sorry? I can't hear you.
I want to say 6, but yeah, 5 to 6 years. Yeah.
It's been years, and we've got nothing. Nothing. And I think that happens because a lot of the crime that happens here is so underground, is so hidden behind closed doors that we really don't know. I think this is one of the reasons why, we are labeled the 16th safest city in the country because, sorry to say, I don't trust those numbers the same way I don't trust PUB numbers. Same way I don't trust the city of Brownsville's numbers. And I think that's unfortunate. But I understand what you're saying. Good morning. Good morning. Ufala, calm that dog down. This is the last show, guys. I'm going to do from the house. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. I'm going to have to go, do the show at the office, which is 10 minutes away, and then come back at the night because no one can keep that damn dog shut. No one. So I'm going to go out there and stay at the office because no one can control that damn dog. Matamoros people is what kept downtown alive. That's why after they limited their entrance before COVID, downtown went downhill. Very few Brownsville people shop in downtown. Yeah, because it started to lose that which made it downtown. I think before, Frankie, eran muchas tiendas that were uh, priced right for a lot of the individuals that were wanting to come across. I think again, I think one of the tiendas that is most um, successful downtown, Frankie, right now is Ross, and I do not like Ross. I don't think that it's cheap enough. I think it's still expensive, but that place, Frankie, it's always popping. It's always
Yeah.
full.
I remember there was several ropa usadas.
Johnson.
There were de los chinitos. There were Sam is right. People from Matamoros came over here because it was affordable. It was you got a lot of bang for your buck. Um, Again, the vision has been lost, and who are we to say, oh, this is what you need to do to these business owners? But again, we need to figure out a way to attract them once again to our area.
Well, it seems like it went the other way. Look, this is one of the things that I've shared and I wanted to share with my St. Joe people out there. Look, guys, and I'll use Dodici's pizza. Dodici's has horrible pizza. It's horrible. It's not great. I get better pizza at Peter Piper's. Peter Piper has some good pizza. Dodici's pizza is not that great. You're paying $18 for between small and medium pizza. It's like this, 18 bucks. What's happening, Frankie, is they're going to be able to do the niche thing with the 1% in the city people of Brownsville. But if you're a business owner, you don't want that just 1%, Frankie. You want all demographics, you know? You want business from the 100%. That's what you want. But they seem to think that because right now Dodici's is catering to that 1% and the people are going. They're not, look, they're not going because the pizza's great. The pizza sucks. They're going because the mayor owns it, you know? And it's the niche thing to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's going to happen when the mayor's out of office? Who's going to want to go out there? I mean, he's going to be out of office. Who's going to be wanting to spend 18 bucks on a damn pizza that tastes 10 times worse than anything Little Caesars can produce? And this is where they've lost it. They've stopped catering to the 100 because they're comfortable with the one. But what about all the other places down there? You know, what about all the other stores? It's going to come to a point where you're going to need the rest of the folks out there. And this is where a lot of our individuals have kind of shied away, stepped away from what Brownsville was before, because downtown was accessible to everyone in Brownsville. You know, Frankie, because even when we wanted to get like tela or something, we'd go downtown. Curtains, go downtown. When the individuals that were, you know, more socioeconomically disadvantaged, they'd go downtown. They could afford it. One of the things, the biggest compliments that I received today, because I was interviewed by a very uh, well-known journalist in Matamoros, and he says, "Este es el juez de los pobres, el juez que casta a los pobres." We were in Mexico, folks. I'm not claiming to be a judge, so let's get that very clear. But in Mexico, they consider anyone that can marry, you know, un juez. That's what they're referring to. Pero es que usted es de los pobres, and I took that as a compliment, you know, because I've performed fancy weddings, you know, at very expensive halls and stuff. I treat those people, Frankie, with the same respect that I treat individuals who have a wedding at their house or in their backyard or on the bridge. Same. So to me, it was a compliment because I'm going to treat everyone the same. And what I'm trying to say is that's who individuals at Dodici's, downtown, they need to cater to everyone across the board because that's what a good businessman does. And our city commission, they need to start thinking of everyone across the board and not just the 1%. Based on the algorithm, Erasmo's counterpart is taking action on what was said last year. For example, Bradley Freeman recognition. This is yeah. This is what, and I think that the Commissioner de los Santos was the one that promoted or wanted Bradley Freeman, and I'm proud that they did. But I'm going to go back to something that Commissioner Los Santos said uh, during one of the interviews. She says, "Well, Erasmo Castro, didn't have influence on us taking action on PUB or the action that we took on PUB." And again, that is not true. And look, with Bradley, it took a year of calling him out, Frankie, to finally do something. And congratulations to Bradley. I love Bradley. Bradley, I'm the biggest fan that Bradley has here in Brownsville, Texas. And I'm glad that he got a proclamation. But for them to say that it came out of the right thing to do, I'm going to say no. It came out of us bitching about it. Suffice. My concern, Frankie, is we shouldn't have to do that, Frankie. We shouldn't have to be out here screaming at the top of our lungs. That's their job. They have the platform. They could go out there, you know, but there isn't. Bring me some chicharrón de la Ramos. Unfortunately, you cannot cross into United States chicharrón de la Ramos. It's a big no-no because it's pork. Uh, no me dejó meterme la. Yeah, I noticed that. We'll talk about it. We'll have Janie back up. Janie has a podcast here locally. You have to be close to the modem. You have to make sure that your Wi-Fi is up because it needs to stream. But we'll work on it. I promise. This town is kind of like a ghost town. Bands won't play no more. Too much fighting on the dance floor. In the ghetto. But I whistle. That will shut them. I have one when the dog behind my place starts. Only the dog can hear it, and the boy does that. Shut them up. I need to find one of those. I think I know what you're referring to. Have you seen those, Frankie?
I've heard of them. I think that's what the dog whisper does.
Let me tell you, I'm going to get something to really, really annoy the crap out of those damn dogs. If they would revitalize the 14, that would attract tons of people. Sam is 100% correct on the 14. There's one comment that I want to get to. Our city leaders an environment where we're going to spend our money elsewhere, Edinburgh, McAllen, Mission. Unfortunately, yes. I hate my political leaders. People who leave don't look back. If you don't do, you'll turn into a pillar of salt. That's a biblical reference. Frankie doesn't remember that. Brownsville is damned. So you charge $300 for a wedding? No wonder you're always traveling. Let me say, Alfredo, uh, that's not very expensive. Take into consideration, you have to travel into Matamoros at least twice, sometimes three times. And there's always a risk factor, when going over. And again, just the truth of the matter, it's always a risk factor. And I don't think individuals, and I'll say this with all as much humility as I can, I don't think uh, individuals focus on we're paying so much for a wedding. I think it's we wanted Erasmo Castro to do the wedding. I actually got someone who asked for a wedding in May, and I'm going to be traveling on a church mission. And I said I cannot do it. I could suggest individuals, that will do a great job. I have my friends out there, Linda Salazar, who's friends of mine, Mary Esther Sorolla. We're not in competition out here, guys. We're good friends. But I'll recommend someone else. They said, no, Erasmo, we want you to perform the wedding to the point that they are planning on changing the date just so that I could be present to officiate the wedding. So it's not Erasmo charges this much. They just wanted Erasmo to do the wedding, and I do a great job. Let me tell you, but I do a great job, and I don't want to give my secrets away, but I do a good job at weddings because I can relate with people. You know, I try to establish a relationship with these folks, and I think people see that and they feel that. That's why I get called to do weddings. Because it's kind of trippy because I've had people say, "Well, I want to start doing weddings too." Well, good luck. It's not because I'm the only individual out there doing weddings. Linda Salazar, Maria Solorla, and there's some other folks. It's because I'm the best at it. And if you want to pay someone $100 to your wedding, that's what you're going to get. Pero el que quiera celeste, que le cueste. Sheesh. Sam, what about the Wilkinsons? That's the entrance to Southmost. Who wants to see Welcome to Brownsville with a scrap metal yard? And not that many people. You're always traveling. Oh, no charges. What use fixing? I don't know. Laws. I don't know. Brownsville Erasmo Castro is good. Yeah, both Brownsville and Erasmo Castro are good. Yeah. Um, Look, guys, we need something different than what we've had, and I think the only individual that has put up solutions and put up, viable potential pathways to go is Erasmo Castro. With my opponents, one of them has said nothing in regards to what she plans to do for the city of Brownsville. Nothing. The other one probably couldn't find Brownsville if it wasn't on GPS. Love you, Jennifer. Knows nothing about Brownsville. And the other one wants to put it up for a vote, wants to see what options are available. But that's the big disconnect that exists with the individuals that I am running against and Erasmo Castro. Erasmo Castro knows Brownsville, knows its history, knows its people. Wilkinson's pays crap for scrap, but yes, Brownsville could use it and face it. I'm just saying because you preach that you are for the poor, but 300 is not helping the poor. Let me tell you, a lot of people would pay a lot more, my friend. But again, I didn't say that I was for the poor, Alfredo. The reporter did, and a lot of other people do. It's just the way they see it. Because one of the things that you neglect to understand, Alfredo or Darlene, whichever the one is speaking, I have an issue with people using little dual accounts. But what you neglect is Erasmo Castro didn't become Erasmo Castro overnight, honey. Erasmo Castro became Erasmo Castro because I look for your lost dogs, for your pets. I look for your teething rings that you left, or your little boy or girl's shoes that fell in the mall. I do my best to go out there and save a horse that fell in the ditch. I get down and dirty in regards to going out there and being with the people. I understand what my people's needs are. They don't. Welcome to McAllen. Sign is nice. Mission has one. Edinburgh, it's night and day. Edinburgh's a fast growing city. They've got a little bit of everything going on out there. The cops in the city of Brownsville, we are fighting cases. Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying. Your marriage prices are actually reasonable. I know. One of the things I think Alfredo and Darlene, whatever, whoever the hell is out there talking, is just it's trippy because I really wish that a lot of these people would go out there and nitpick at the things that are actually hurting the people of Brownsville. I've never seen Alfredo or Darlene or both of them. Hopefully, I haven't seen them ever. I've never seen them out at the city commission meeting, the PUB meetings. I don't see them at the park cleanups. Never seen them out there, you know, trying to help our uh, kickball teams, soccer teams. Never seen them, but they want to come on here and nitpick everything about Erasmo Castro instead of focusing on that which really hurts the people of Brownsville as a whole. Not Erasmo Castro marrying people. Not what hurts Brownsville. What hurts Brownsville is the individuals that are taking from our grandparents, taking from the poor, taking from the rich, and pocketing it and keeping it. I mean, I can't fight for my case, Judge. I don't understand what you're saying. You should drive your scooter down southmost for no apparent reason. I can do that. I can do that when we go block walking. In order to accomplish anything on the commission, you need a majority of commissioners to agree with you. Who would your majority commissioners be? Look, Victor, one of the things that I hope is that, and I think we mentioned this the other night, I'm hoping that once the commission is established after this election, that we can work together and vote independently for what is right for the citizens of Brownsville. We've got to step away, Victor, from the 4-3 mentality. We've got to step away from the 4-3 mentality. The 4-3 mentality is what has hurt not only the city of Brownsville, BISD, TSC, the port, it has hurt us because people think they need to be in this little group and that they control the commission and they control the monies that should go to the city of Brownsville. And that's unfortunate. I want 7 individuals on there to think independently. I don't want, look, I don't want Brian Martinez out there controlled by Commissioner de las Chanclas. You know, I don't want a Jessica Tetreau controlled by Carlos Marin. I don't want individuals out there that are going to form into little groups. Because, Victor, that's what gave us PUB. John Cowan, Sampaio, Marines, the Eddie Treviños, these people, they're the ones that gave us the NASCA, the Brownsville Housing Authority. They've taken millions. So I'm going to go out there and be on an even keel with all the other 6 individuals on that commission. I'm going to pray that they do the right thing. And if they don't, then I'm praying that you help me call them out whenever they don't do the right thing. But we've got to step away from the 4-3 mentality. Edinburgh is going to be the Mecca. Maybe. You know, what do you think, Frankie? You're more into the sports scene. You know, Edinburgh is about to have a football team. You know,
Yeah,
and
it's
and a marching band,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I did see that. Edinburgh is growing. It is one of the fastest growing cities. Again, they have the benefit of having McAllen, Far, uh, all those all those cities. You know, it's a metropolitan city. They have the luxury of having all those cities out there. But again, we need to focus on our resources. We have so much to offer. But when you really look at it, and Tucker, when you really look at it, let's talk about the zoo, one of Brownsville's gems. You would think that we would be doing everything in our power to make sure that this zoo is recognized throughout the U.S., throughout the world. That we would focus all our money, all our attention to make sure that we have elephants, polar bears, lions, tigers, typical animals that we would expect to have at a zoo. But what has happened, Tucker? We have to have GoFundMe pages for the zoo, which that's an embarrassment. That's an
Embarrassment.
embarrassment. That's an embarrassment whenever you have a city commission more worried about let's focus on downtown. We're not going to get people from Dallas. We're not going to get people from Corpus Christi. We're not going to get people from uh, Beaumont to come to Brownsville to experience downtown. We need to focus on our resources that we have, our ports, our 2 beaches, our zoo, SpaceX. But again, you and I know the reasons why the focal point hasn't been the zoo, and that is because that doesn't make them money.
No,
And I hate to be the bearer of of bad news, but that's the way it goes in the city of Brownsville. What scheme can we concoct in order for us to skimp off here, skimp off there, a little bit here, a little bit there? And at the end of the day, we have ourselves a little big pile of cash. The zoo is something that we should be focusing on. Why is it now that one of your opponents at Erasmo is saying, oh, we need to focus on the zoo? Well, you've had 4 years to do that. What have you done? What
nothing.
steps have you taken? What steps have been put in place to make sure that our zoo does not lose the accreditation that it is rumored to be in jeopardy of? Now, imagine, ladies and gentlemen, if we lose the accreditation of the zoo, we're going to resort to a petting zoo. We're going to resort to being the laughing stock of South Texas, of Texas, if not the United States. But again, the focal point for this commission, unfortunately, is where can I make money? It's not the zoo. And that's something, El Tucker, that we need to focus on. Brownsville is the Mecca, in my opinion. And I've always stated this. The reason why I ran for BISD was because I believe wholeheartedly in Brownsville. I want to see Brownsville as that city on the hill. I want Brownsville to be the focal point, the example, the city of the Rio Grande Valley. But again, McAllen is eating our lunch. McAllen doesn't have a zoo. McAllen doesn't have a port. McAllen does not have two beaches. McAllen does not have SpaceX. But again, priorities. So, El Tucker, in my opinion, I wholeheartedly believe that Brownsville is the Mecca, but we need people such as Erasmo Castro that's going to make sure that all these resources that we have are well attained to, that their focus is on these gems that we have, and not make it the laughing stock of South Texas.
Well, let me say this. And look, guys, I'm trying to connect. Sorry, guys. I am trying to connect uh, individuals that are trying to rescue this cat that I just posted. That's the kind of stuff that I do. But something that you mentioned, Frankie, is really important. One of the things that we learned from, I think it was Commissioner de los Santos, coming on here saying, goes, well, the city commission, has, very little to do with the zoo. You see, and that's what's unfortunate because the zoo does have their own little board, their own other little organization. But what you mentioned is 100% correct because they cannot make a buck off of the zoo because it is being overseen by a board and committee. Then they focus on downtown, that which will make money for themselves, that which will put money into their pockets. Something that they could go out there and skim off the contracts. They can't with the zoo. So this is one of the reasons why I agree. This is one of the reasons why the zoo has been so neglected because they can't make a buck from it. They can't. It's getting to the point now that again, because we've been talking about it for so long, and we've been insisting that something be done. Now it's one of their priorities. Now they want to lower the tax rate, the PUB rates. Now they want to give back some money. Now they want to fix the zoo. Now they want to give a recognition to Bradley Freeman. Where were you all these 4 years? Where were you all these 12 years? Nowhere. Non existent. And that's unfortunate. That's very sad. Let's go to the next comment. Alfred, I have more T300 votes for Erasmo because he is willing to help us, not like the other two. They are tired of getting ripped off. I agree 100%. And I think individuals are getting to that point where they're understanding it's got to stop. It's the street next to the park. Again, I'm trying to figure out some way to help this cat. Pobrecita. Let's go. Today, ustedes reported a pursuit. I'm going to stop reading your comments. Saludos. No. Bye, John. Who is Carlos Marin? Long story. We'll have a show completely on Ambiotech. Long show. Frank, thanks for coming on, Frankie. You're on mute.
uh, Again, thank you for the invite. It's important for Brownsville to go back to what worked. The city of Brownsville for far too long had that international relationship with Matamoros. It's unfortunate that the only times we extend that hand to our sister city is on Charo days, on days of festivities. We need to do more on our part to make sure that we have that commerce coming into the city of Brownsville. We need people from Matamoros. We need people from Monterrey come shop here in the city of Brownsville. It's going to be very, very important moving forward. It's unfortunate that the current city commission, their focal point has been to go away from inviting our neighbors on the other side of the border and more focus on making Brownsville into something that we're not. We need to have. We have the benefit of having neighbors, having international relationships, commerce across the border. I wholeheartedly believe that Erasmo Castro will do a great job of bringing people to the table, such as Arturo Trevino, who has those established relationships. That is going to make Brownsville a focal point in our dialogues. Also, Monterrey. Now that Monterrey is going to have a Tesla plant, we could say, hey, we have SpaceX, you have Tesla, Monterrey, come to Brownsville. That's going to be a focal point. That's something that no candidate has been preaching about. No candidate has been wanting to address. I
Yeah.
understand the dangers, quote unquote, of Mexico Matamoros, but we need to overlook that. There's money to be made, and there's ways for us to establish those relationships. I think that's going to be very important moving forward. We need to get rid of the idea that downtown Brownsville is what we need for restaurants and bars. We need to cater to our brothers and sisters on the other side of the border.
Yeah. Look, we're at a point where we've got to start enhancing the relationships with those individuals that want to work with different other municipalities in order to bring a better day for their citizens, a better day for other citizens as well. And let me say, I know Monterrey like the back of my hand. I know Matamoros like the back of my hand, and they want to work with us, and we need to work with them. So yeah, I'm very very hopeful in regards to working with other individuals here locally that are powerhouses already in Monterrey, in Victoria, in Tampico, especially in Matamoros. Guys, have a great, great evening. Social distance, face covering, hand sanitizer, still believe in all that. Guys, see you tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. Roman might be on even. I will be on CBS tomorrow with Jerry McHale. And Jerry McHale has been very adamant in regards to his support to one of my opponents. So we're going to have a very, very good discussion tomorrow. So it's going to be fun. Guys, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, and then tomorrow morning at 10:30 with Captain Bob. Guys, be good to each other. Continue to be good to me. God bless.